Let's dive straight into it. Birthmarks. Picture this, it's the 1400s. You're just going about your day trying to stay clear of the plague, when suddenly your neighbor catches a glimpse of a birthmark on your skin. Instead of just saying, "Hey, that's an interesting birthmark," they yell, "Witch!" And just like that, you're the main suspect in a witch hunt. Back then, birthmarks weren't just marks. They were called the devil's mark. People truly believed the devil himself had visited you and left a little sign on your body, marking you as part of his dark crew. The wild part, these marks were thought to be numb to pain because of evil magic. Witch hunters would jab needles into the mark. If you didn't react, bam, you were branded a witch. But here's the kicker. Some of these hunters used trick needles that never actually pierced the skin, only pretending to poke you. And even if you did feel the prick, they'd accuse you of faking it. Basically, there was no winning. Whether you showed pain or not, you were doomed. Imagine being stuck in that nightmare where your own body betrays you, and the worst part, the entire town's watching, ready to condemn you. Next up, sleepwalking. People back then were seriously suspicious about anyone wandering around at night with their eyes closed, mumbling to themselves. Today, we just say someone's got a sleep disorder, or maybe they're just stressed. But in medieval times, that was prime evidence of witchcraft. Uncle Ted must be chatting with demons. If you even whispered in your sleep, folks thought you were reciting some wicked spell. Imagine the paranoia. You're just dreaming, but everyone's convinced your midnight muttering is a secret curse. And if something unfortunate happened afterward, like the blacksmith's horse catching a cold or the harvest failing, everyone blamed you. Sleepwalking wasn't just weird, it was dangerous. People would probably have chained you up or banned you from leaving the house after dark just to be safe. Now, whistling. Not just any whistling, though. Specific tunes were thought to have magical effects. There was a tune that could supposedly whip up a strong wind, enough to blow your neighbor's roof off like a frisbee. Another tune was said to curdle milk, ruining breakfast faster than you can say witchcraft. And where you whistled mattered too. Whistling near certain trees? Clearly a witchy meeting was happening. Whistling by a graveyard? You were waking the dead. Whistling inside a church? Absolutely taboo. Even animals were part of the suspicion. Imagine whistling and suddenly a cow looks your way. Next thing you know, you're dragged to the town square for communing with the farm animals. People took whistling very seriously. Imagine avoiding your favorite tune just because it might summon a storm, or having to explain to the town elders why you whistled that random melody by the oak tree. Every whistle could be a secret code for evil spells, so folks were basically walking around with their lips zipped tight. Being left-handed was another red flag. Since most people are right-handed, lefties always stood out. But during the Middle Ages, it was worse. People thought the devil was left-handed. The word sinister actually comes from the Latin word for left. If you were a lefty, your word was worthless in court. No matter how honest you were, they assumed you were lying for the devil. Left-handed kids were often forced to use their right hand, and it wasn't just a weird parenting quirk. It was a way to correct their devilish tendencies. Imagine going through life having to hide which hand you truly favored because showing your left was basically signing a deal with the devil. Left-handedness wasn't just strange, it was downright dangerous. Yawning was considered dangerous too. People believed that when you yawned and opened your mouth wide, you were basically rolling out a red carpet for demons to come in. The idea was your soul could slip out, and if it did, demons would move in. During the bubonic plague, yawning was a common symptom, so everyone thought yawning was the Grim Reaper's way of snatching souls. It wasn't just bad manners, it was a death omen. To prevent this, people would make the sign of the cross over their mouth when they yawned, like locking the door on evil spirits. Babies, of course, couldn't do this themselves, so adults had to do it for them. If you yawned without crossing yourself, it was a huge red flag. Either you were already demon-possessed, or you just didn't care. Imagine adults chasing after babies trying to do spiritual CPR every time they yawned. Now, on to cats, especially black cats. They were a medieval red flag. Cats are nocturnal and mysterious, and let's be honest, their looks sometimes scream, "I'm plotting something." If your neighbor saw you with a cat, they might run to the priest and say you were raising an army of the devil's pets. Ironically, cats were actually great for keeping the rat population down, which helped prevent the spread of plague. But logic didn't matter much then. Every cat purr was thought to be a secret spell, and every meow a message to the underworld. Even cat sneezes were suspicious. If a cat sneezed near you, people thought the cat was talking to you. Since cats were believed to be the devil's friends, anyone buddy-buddy with a sneezing cat was obviously in league with the devil, and thus a witch. Picture a cat sneezing and everyone gasping, "She's cursed." Brewing beer was another suspicious activity, especially for women. Brewing was mostly a woman's craft in those days, but if you brewed beer that was too good, jealousy and rumors would start flying. Neighbors would whisper that you must be casting spells over your brewing pot to make it taste that good. Your brewing setup, big pot, stirring stick, a couple of cats, sounded a lot like a witch's toolkit. Stirring sticks could be broomsticks in disguise. Cats, friends of the devil. And the big pot, obviously a witch's cauldron. The brewing room probably smelled like hops and suspicion combined. People would avoid your beer but secretly want it, and maybe sneak a sip when no one was looking. Classic forbidden fruit. Finally, being too good at making cheese could get you labeled a witch too. Imagine you live in a small village where everyone's trying to make cheese, but yours is always perfect, creamy, delicious, feast-worthy. Meanwhile, your neighbor's cheese is either rubbery or brick-like. Naturally, people start wondering how you do it and might accuse you of witchcraft. Cheese making was a delicate process. Too good meant you had secret powers. Too bad meant you were cursed. Your skills could either get you praise or a pitchfork. Folks didn't want to admit you just had talent. They needed a spooky explanation. So instead of "wow, great cheese," it was "beware, she's got devil's magic." Subscribe if you enjoyed.